Welcome back to Talking with Our Traders, a Caesars Sportsbook original series, the podcast that takes you inside the mind of the sportsbook with our very own Caesars Sportsbook traders. I'm your host, Cindi Edwards, and with me today and all season long, Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading here at Caesars Sportsbook.
Hello there.
And Joey Fiesel, Head of Football here at Caesars.
Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going.
It's going?
Yeah.
All right.
Cold.
It is cold. I agree. Well, let's get into college football. Miami sneaks into the college football playoff over Notre Dame. Did the committee get it right?
Depends what you believe is right. Did they get the best team in, the better team in? No. I think Notre Dame would still be a decent favorite over most teams in this college football playoff. Was it to make sure that the ACC gets to participate? Then yes, they succeeded. But to me, it just didn't feel right because if we looked the week before on Tuesday, you set a precedent that Notre Dame was better than Miami, and then nothing happened, and then Miami's better than Notre Dame. I think it has to be kind of rethought of how we do this process going forward because now we have two non-Power 5, two non-competitive games. I don't expect either of those teams to make a splash when you probably just have the top 12 teams. And then if a non-Power 5 is good enough in that top 12, then it means more. So, yeah, the committee's getting a lot of flack, and maybe for good reason. But I mean, if they set the precedent now, it's head to head. It makes sense. I mean, Miami did beat Notre Dame, so maybe Notre Dame shouldn't go through because they had a cupcake schedule that they ran through in the last 10 games. They didn't win the games that they needed to. So it was just weird how they changed their mind when no games were played. It just didn't make sense to me.
Right. Craig?
Just shows how ridiculous these playoff rankings are week in, week out until you actually get to when it matters.
Right.
Yes, Miami should have been in over Notre Dame because Miami beat them. It's simple as that. Was it a great result for our customers? Yes. Were we happy on Sunday? No.
Yeah.
And everybody that followed Miami at 2-1 and followed my advice when we filmed at Monte Cristo, well, you should get 20-1 if you follow me and get that one in. I think there's a way of fixing it. You get every conference champion in, then you make it a field of 24, and then the next missing spots you go the highest ranked teams in the rankings, and then you let all the bad teams, the 21-point dogs that'll be in 2 weeks' time. Let them play each other first, get it down to a field of 16 and straight ranking knockout, job done.
Okay.
No arguments.
Right.
But the thing is, they want the drama.
Yeah, of course.
And they want the discussions week in, week out. And I've never watched one of those ranking shows.
Right.
Yeah,
They need the drama.
They need the drama. They need people to talk about it.
Fair point. All right. Well, Indiana upset number 1 Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. Is Cignetti building the next college football dynasty?
Look, Cignetti shocked the world, and he pulled it off. It was one of the best defensive games that I've seen in a long time. One of the really good results for us. So, yeah, I think he said what he was going to do, and he did it. Is he building a next dynasty? I think it's too early to tell. But he's setting up Indiana to be a football school when usually they're just a basketball school. So, good on him. It's exciting, and I'm interested to see if he's going to be able to continue that into the playoff when he's going to play an SEC team or kind of outside of the Big Ten.
Is it dynasty or dynasty?
Dynasty.
Okay. No, it's not a dynasty, but it is impressive what they achieved, and it was a huge win for them at the weekend. Thanks in much to what traders despise the most when it always comes down to a decision is the college kicker.
Mm-hmm.
It never goes that way.
Yeah.
We sit there and watch a 60-yard attempt for a college kicker, and we think he's got no chance, and we need him to miss and straight through the uprights. And then we don't want them to. We want them to hit a 23-yarder, and it's wide left.
It's wide left. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, he's done a great job. There's no worrying about that. We'll see. Too early to tell.
Well, we talked about the implications of either team winning. So following up, is Fernando Mendoza now a Heisman lock and the number 1 pick in next year's draft?
beating Ohio State was enough. Votes are in. I expect Mendoza to get the Heisman Trophy on Saturday. Number one pick, I'm not sure of, because I don't think Mendoza has the success on any other team, and I don't think in quarterback play is pretty bad in the NFL right now, but I don't think he's worthy of trading up for, and I don't think he's going to immediately change your NFL team. I don't want to say he's good or bad at this point. I mean, we have to go through that process and Jackson Dart really kind of showed out in the combine, and so we'll see kind of how Mendoza kind of does that there. But yeah, right now I don't think he's worth trading up.
First of all, I would never trade up for anybody in a million years. I'd always trade down, let everybody else make the mistake, and you just build up draft stock, because they're unproven talent. Is he a lock for the Heisman? Yeah, I think that pass that he made on third down at the end of the game to the tight end pretty much won it. Mm-hmm. But it's a pretty uninspiring Heisman field this year. It's the one I had for a while. I think, well, there's some real good play here, and none of these really impressed me.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot different than what we previewed in the beginning of the season. Yeah. 2 group of 5 teams made the college football playoff, Tulane and James Madison. How do you see bettors approaching these matchups?
I see a major fade of these two teams. If we look last year, kind of those underdog type, Arizona State wasn't a non-Power 4, but Boise, they both had like star players to rally around, right? You had Scadaboo on Arizona State. You had Genty on Boise. And you don't really have those star calibers on these two non-Power 4 teams. So I expect, bettors are going to be just fading them, taking the big points with Oregon, taking the big points with Ole Miss. And I expect our need to be significant on these two teams next weekend.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree. I think the real heavy hitters will parlay the 2 money lines, which comes out at 6.23 on the Sportsbook app on the Caesars one. So I can see the big wager money line parlays for sure, because neither of these two teams are winning. Let's be real. From a public perspective, I don't think they'll take the points. I think they'll just play the minus 17.5, minus 21.5. These two teams are in. Do they deserve to be? Yeah, they won their conferences. They got in. But they're not. They shouldn't be in the field. Let's be true.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that the college football playoffs are set, predict how the bracket will play out. Any interesting angles, value picks, early upsets, maybe a Cinderella run?
I don't think it's going to be any Cinderella run.
No,
it's too
so
top
fun.
heavy. They are so fun. I got all the favorites advancing this week. Or next week: Oregon, Alabama, Ole Miss, A&M. Out of there, who's advancing there is Oregon, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. So that's Oregon beating Indiana, I believe. Then Georgia, Oregon in the Natty. I think Georgia gets it done. Okay. That's my value pick.
Yeah, my bracket's usually busted pretty quick, so I'm not going that far. Cinderella's run ended when the NIL hit midnight. As we've seen with college basketball, it's the haves and the have-nots, and that's how it's going to remain now. I do think Miami can beat A&M. Oklahoma will take care of Alabama. Notre Dame should be upset about not getting in behind Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be surprises with Oregon Ole Miss, but I do think Oregon can upset Texas Tech in the quarterfinal. But then it's all chalk for me.
All right. And of course, we'll preview all those games next week. But let's get into the game of the week. This week, we have America's game, Army versus Navy. Line is currently Navy minus 6.5. Total is 38.5. I know this is a historically under type game. Should we expect the same? Yeah. Is this like your favorite game of all time? Like every year you're just circling this game?
Yeah.
Ready for no points? Yeah, no, just kidding. Joey, break it down.
Yeah, America's game, Army, Navy. It's going to be a classic defensive battle, always is. You know, both these teams run a similar offense. They're both going to throw the ball probably a little bit more than we've seen military academies play in years past. But yeah, this matchup just was always an under. No matter what it was, no matter what line. We've had a couple overs in the past couple of years, kind of barely getting over. And it's like something that just happens at the end that probably shouldn't happen. Navy enters a 6.5 point favorite, and They're winning 3 of the last 4. Both of these teams were in the American Conference, really competitive throughout. Navy is the deserved favorite here, and I think they're going to get it done because I don't think, Army wants to beat Army, but I think Navy is the side here because I think they just are outclassing Army this year.
Yeah. Craig?
In 124 meetings, there have been 7 ties. To Joey's point, this game hasn't gone over the pre-game number that we've got this week since 2013. But the one thing you always get when you bet on Army or bet on Navy, regardless of this game, in just a normal game, the military academies play till the very end. They are not stopping.
Yeah.
You're always going to get your value for your money if you're taking either of those 2 teams. But this is an under game. It's nice and easy. Give me the under.
All right, easy enough. Let's get into our game picks of the week. Favorite game to go over?
I'll go with the only bowl game this week, the LA Bowl. Give me over a 52.5 Boise State, Washington.
I like it.
I'm going to go FCS, Stephen Austin, Montana State, over 52.
All right. Favorite game to go under? Do I even have to ask?
You don't have to ask. Army, Navy.
All right. Moving on. Favorite team to cover the spread?
I think Navy gets it done, covers the 6.5 here.
I'm going to go Boise State plus 9.5.
I like that. You might hear that later on.
You're going to like it even more in a minute.
I'm going to go Boise. I think Boise can get it done. Low stakes in this bowl game here. Not a lot of motivation being the first bowl. I'm going to take Boise to take the Huskies out.
You successfully covered my Duke dog last week. Copied it, sorry, not covered it.
Oh, sorry.
And yet again, he's copied me again. Boise State plus 265.
All right, Craig, any weather to be aware of?
No, unfortunately, which is a dying shame.
All right, well, let's move on to NFL. A lot more going on there this week, but let's talk about some of the matchups last week. The Chiefs and the Ravens both sit at 6-7 on the season. By the way, Craig, this is the same record as your Dolphins. Is this the beginning of the decline for these 2 franchises?
6-7 record is not what these teams want, right? They're expected to be top of the class, and it's not working this year. It might look like a start of a decline, but I think it's more of just a temporary dip.
Okay.
These teams both have elite quarterbacks. They both have strong coaching staffs. They have rosters built to sustain success, and why we've seen it in years previous. It's not like they had to rebuild and go back. They have all the pieces. It just was not a great year. And I think what happens is, where were these 2 teams last year? They were top of the AFC. Well, what's that mean? You got a tougher schedule.
Yep.
And that's where the NFL has worked. It didn't work last year because all the good teams are really good and all the bad teams are really bad. But this year, you're seeing the good teams struggle playing those tough schedules, and where you see like the Patriots, who have a simple schedule, they're at the top of the realm right now. And then next year, it's probably going to reverse trend, right? They're going to have a tougher schedule, and probably we're going to go back, wow, or the Patriots are, we're going to do this whole rigmarole. But that's how the NFL is set up, and it's set up on purpose because like this, it brings parity. It brings any given Sunday, any team can win.
First things first, the Ravens should be 7-6, not 6-7, because
of
that's
that
clearly
touchdown.
a touchdown catch.
Yeah, I'd agree.
What's a catch anymore? You were in the end zone, you had the ball and 2 feet down. That's 7 points. It's a one-off for sure. And to elaborate on Joey's point, well-built franchises, well-managed, marquee quarterbacks, but also ownership all the way down. These 2 teams from top to bottom are just well built. Mm-hmm. So I do think it's a one-off. But yeah, it's a strange world when the New England Patriots sit atop of the AFC East and the Dolphins have the same record as the Chiefs and Raiders.
Yeah. All right. Well, if the Chiefs do miss the playoffs, how does it affect Mahomes' legacy? He's made the AFC Championship game in every year that he's been a starter. So this would be the first time ever that he hasn't made the postseason or won the AFC West.
Yeah, I think if the Chiefs would have missed the playoffs, it would be a significant moment in Mahomes' career. But I don't think it tarnishes his legacy at all. I mean, look what the guy's done. He's expected to win every time. Every time we see a fourth quarter comeback, we're expecting him to be the guy. And we see Tom Brady had some off years. That they didn't.
He
win the
didn't
Super
have
Bowl
an off
every
year like this.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe when he
Sure
tore his
about that?
ACL,
Well,
but
No, but I think a single season outside of the postseason would be viewed as an anomaly. That isn't what the normal is for him. So yeah, I don't think it underscores his legacy like this.
fair.
Tom Brady missed the playoffs in his career once, but he missed it. So this does not tarnish Mahomes' legacy. I was cashing a dinner bet on Sunday night, so I did not see this game, and I would have absolutely laughed the restaurant down if I'd have seen Mahomes on his face when Rasheed Rice dropped that ball and he's rolling around so upset.
Yeah.
Mahomes doesn't catch the passes. Neither do his receivers, to be fair. It doesn't tarnish his legacy. He would be one of two quarterbacks you would take if you were redrafting for a franchise.
For sure.
The guy's marquee, he's next level. Just a one-off.
They just are so unlucky. That game was just insane.
They had so much luck last year; it had to come.
It
back
had
anyway.
to switch the other way.
Karma comes back once in a while.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned should Eagles fans be?
I think they should be about a 6, 1 to 10. Team still has talent up and down. It's just not working together. It's not molding, and the inconsistency on the offense is real. And it's going to be a problem, especially against top tier opponents. So they still control their destiny, right? They should win the division if they can just hold on and have a strong finish. But that NFC playoffs is going to be a rough. You're not playing no cupcakes in the NFC playoffs. So yeah, I think they should be concerned, and they have not a lot of time to figure it out to try to go back and win the Super Bowl again.
We were writing them off last year at the same time. Right now, on a scale of concern, I'd say a 1. If you lose to the Raiders Sunday, it's a scale of 100 because these are games you can't lose this game.
Yeah.
2 wins gets them the division, or a win and a Cowboys loss. So it's very likely they just get back in order. They're not going to get the bye, so they're going to have to go on the road through the playoffs, which will be tough. But the way I see the NFC playoffs mapping out is they're just going to beat up on each other so much that it might just give the AFC opponent an opportunity.
Yeah. All right. With the Daniel Jones injury, are the Colts cooked, or will that Phillip Rivers signing save their season?
I think they're cooked. And I think signing Phillip Rivers to the practice squad feels more like just a headline than an actual real solution.
Right.
I mean, I guess we'll see if he goes out there and plays, but I can't imagine his arm strength has gotten better since we've seen him play last, or his mobility. This guy, I mean, he's a grandpa. So it's sad to see because the Colts started so hot, and Jonathan Taylor was making noise. Everything was working well, and then it's sad to see. Jones was so upset when he knew it was over.
Yeah.
And he knew this was a chance to kind of revive his career, and just I don't think it's over for him, but he was being he had gotten a lot of crap when he was on the Giants, and so having that comeback for him was big. So yeah, I don't see the Colts being able to get it done, especially with the Texans breathing down their neck like that.
I love Phillip Rivers. I love anybody that can talk absolute trash when you're on the sideline and not on the field. But is he going to resurrect their season? No.
Do you think he's even going to start?
Yes.
Probably.
Okay.
But I've got a follow-up question in a moment. They've got the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Jags, and the Texans. Yeah.
That's tough.
It's not nice. They're on the outside looking in right now because they are 8th.
Yeah, I think so.
Because of the Jags win. That's a ludicrously difficult schedule. Now, here's the question. If he starts or plays at any point, does that set his Hall of Fame candidacy back?
Yes.
Because you've got to be retired for 5 years.
Right. Yes, it does.
So is Brady's induction next year?
So because he came back, affected it.
So no quarterbacks want to go in the Hall of Fame the same time as
Tom Brady, yeah,
right?
of course not.
So yeah, you might as well suit up and wait another 5 years.
Oh, so this is strategic on his part.
Look, the guy's smart. I understand why, being a parent myself. So yeah.
He's trying to get away from the kids.
Get away from the kids.
Yeah, fair. All right. Well, the Packers reclaim their lead in the NFC North. Have they finally put it all together?
Did they put it away?
Yeah, I think it's too early to say they put it all together offensively. Defensively, still stout. They are improving though offense. I was not the biggest Packers guy in the first part of the season, and week after week, they do think they're getting better. But there's still some inconsistencies at times, and a 7-point win, which is right on the number what we expected it to be. It's not really super impressive to me, especially when the Bears could have really got it there. So they haven't been able to put teams away like they should be able to with the talent that they have on both sides of the ball. So I think it's in the right direction, and they're going to be scary in the playoffs, but I don't think they've entirely fixed their offense to be elite like they should be.
The Packers raise their game when it matters the most.
Yeah.
And it mattered on Sunday to beat, first of all, your arch rival. Second of all, take the lead in the division. Yes, you were up against the NFC version of the New England Patriots. And it showed when it mattered most. They got the job done. The NFC's loaded. We've said this all along. I do think the Super Bowl winner comes from the NFC. I cannot, unless the Chiefs or the Bills miraculously turn things around. I just think it's just far more superior this year. But they get it done, and they've got another acid test against a good defense this week on the road in Denver.
All right. Moving on, Shedeur Sanders is the first Browns quarterback with 300-plus passing yards, 3+ passing TDs, and a rushing touchdown in the same game since 1950. Were you guys impressed by his performance?
I mean, anytime a Browns quarterback puts up those kind of numbers, it is impressive. He has poise, and he is, working towards, but it was the Titans. I mean, it's not... shouting the top of the roof, but it's not like he played the Packers and put up those numbers. So, while the stat line is historic, I think the real test will come against tougher opponents and how he continues to grow. But I don't think he's, just a horrific quarterback that just got lucky. But I think that, he has to be actually tested.
It's a good stat since 1950. I think it's the last time the Browns won a game, wasn't it? Or had a winning season. Look, it's great. It was in bad weather, but it was against the second worst team in the league, in the Titans. And somebody called the Titans as the dog.
That's right.
Yeah. He's got nothing to lose. He's playing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and he can be out there and toss the ball around and run. Look, he needs an off season. He might not even be with the Browns next year because they'll probably draft another quarterback knowing the Browns. So yeah, look, no taking away from it. It's an impressive stat. I was quite disappointed when I saw he ran for a touchdown because he was going to be my touchdown scorer this week.
Yeah,
took it away.
So all the value's gone.
Yeah. But no, you lost to the Titans. Come on.
All right. Who is going to win the NFC South? The Bucs and Panthers have 2 games against each other in the next 4 weeks, and it's really anyone's division.
Yeah, it feels like it's slipping away for Tampa Bay. And they just really have been inconsistent and at the worst possible time, right? This is when you just got to win a couple games, get to the playoffs, win the division. But this is going to prove whether Carolina has it or they don't have it, right? They're on the upward trend, right? They're not considered as one of the terrible teams this year. They're in the mix. So we'll see if Carolina has it, and we'll see if Tampa Bay can kind of turn it around, reverse the... they got some guys back. You got some health in the locker room. So we'll see if they can kind of build upon that. But it's not looking good for them, I don't think.
I think we discussed something similar a couple of weeks ago where I gave kudos to Joey for calling the Panthers and their success. Yeah. Well, he doesn't get 2 kudoses in the same year. The Panthers have the easiest schedule. The problem is they're a favorite this week, and when they're a favorite, they don't
perform. True. Yeah.
So if I'm the coach, I'm telling the Panthers, hey, look at Caesar Sportsbook. You're plus 210 for the division. You're an underdog. Go out and play like an underdog. I can't take the odds on shot in the Bucks. I've seen the Bucks the last few weeks. Not great. Let's take the team that's in form. And because the Panthers have the easiest schedule, that would be the value for me.
All right. Moving on, can the Texans be a serious contender despite their offensive struggles? Obviously, we know their defense is top tier, but that offense just doesn't click.
No, the offense isn't clicking, but I still think that they're going to be able to be a contender just because the AFC is pretty weak. And the defense is going to matter. And their defense is just lights out. I've watched a couple of their games, and they look phenomenal. So I do think that Houston can find ways offensively just to kind of play how the Packers play, right? They don't look great offensively for most of the game, but they do enough to get done, and they stop enough on defense to kind of keep them in the game to where you just need a couple of drives, get down the field to go your way, and you can take the win. So, yeah, I do think that they are a serious contender if they make the playoffs.
Defense wins championships. And based on my ratings the last 5 years, the last 5 Super Bowl winners were number 1 on defense, number 2, 19th, 6th, and 6th. I had to double check the 19th, but that was the Chiefs. It does tell you that an elite defense, or at least a top 10 defense, can get you there, and it can overcome the offenses. Currently, my top 5 defenses: the Texans, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Broncos. So, yes, it can get you there. And they only needed 11 points to beat the Chiefs.
That's very true. All right. Was the Commanders' run to the NFC Championship game last season a fluke?
Yeah, I think it was a fluke. Obviously, they've had troubles with injuries this year that's going to make an impact. And going back to the point, they have a tougher schedule than they did last year, right? Because they so overperformed. But they did beat a good Lions team. In the playoffs last year, so I don't want to downplay that. But, you know, they had a whole year of tape on Jaden Daniels and a whole year of tape on the scheme and found ways to take it down. So, yeah, it was a fluke-ish. They had a crazy 4th down conversion rate last year. Like, so there was a lot of luck.
The Bears game.
And the Bears game.
With the celebration.
Hail Mary. Yeah. So, yeah, I think this is just them getting back to kind of being normal. And now they're going to have a better, easier schedule next year, so we'll see how they build upon that and what pieces they add. I don't think Debo was the answer. I still think they still have a lot of holes to fix because if you look 2 years ago, they were a terrible team. Then they were good last year. They still haven't, built up like the Ravens or the Chiefs have to have a full squad.
Can't say anything better than that. They benefited from the 4th place schedule. They get a rookie quarterback, first year, no film, the offensive structure. So none of the teams could be prepared for it. A year later, you've got the film, you've got Daniels' weaknesses and strengths, the injuries, but also all the contract situations as well. Was Scary Terry contract issue as well, and it just shows how 1 year you're at the top and how fast life can change around in the NFL unless you're the Chiefs and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then look at this year. Well, let's get into our games of the week, starting off with the Bills-Patriots game. The Patriots are coming off of a bye, while the Bills are coming off of a come-from-behind victory over the Bengals. Last time they played, it was a close one. Patriots won by 3. Line is currently Bills -1, total 49.5. Guys, I know you're just dying to break this game down. So, Joey, why don't you start us off?
Love it. Yeah, revenge game here for the Bills. If we look back, I think, was it 7.5 or 8.5?
8.5.
Key number.
Because I called the Pats that night as my dog of the week.
You did call them. And they came through. So the Bills certainly want revenge here. Obviously, a division is probably out of their hands. That's going to be New England's. But I kind of like New England here. I mean, I don't want to say it. I don't want to be positive about them, but
you're so annoying.
The key, the key is Vrabel coming off a bye, and I think that's the key in this game of why I like the Patriots here. The market is heading kind of more towards the pick. I still think Buffalo has problems. Like, they had a nice comeback, but that was kind of they were down pretty early, and then the Bengals just bangled it up. I mean, that's what.
Yeah, Joe Burrow threw like 2 picks.
Yeah, they just they figure out how to lose games. So I'm leaning Patriots here. because I'm going to lean Patriots, I'm going to go towards the under, more of that Patriots defense stepping up. So sad to say it. I hope I mushed them for you, Cindi.
Craig?
Yeah, their first meeting when they were 8.5 point dogs, I was actually eating at Caesar's Palace that night at Beetalooga, and I had to pretend to go to the bathroom so I could watch the last drive. Yeah, this is going to kill me. I make the Pats minus 150 on the total. The Patriots have always beat the Bills straight up as an 8.5 point dog on the road. The Pats have won the last two at Foxborough versus the Bills. Vrabel off a bye is very good. The Pats win. They clinch the AFC East. Bills by $1 billion.
I was about to say, where is this going? If the Patriots do pull off a victory, is that a quality win for them?
That's a quality win.
Be the first one. Yeah, be the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they beat the Bills on the road on the Sunday night. Fair play to them. They played well then.
Yeah, this is a quality win.
All right. I'm excited for this one. Okay, moving on, we have Chiefs Chargers in an AFC West matchup that the Chiefs desperately need to win, although it feels like we've been saying that every game and they just continue to keep losing. However, the Chargers did not look good offensively on Monday night against the Eagles. Actually, that game might have been one of the worst I've ever watched.
That was a terrible game. Yeah.
So, line is currently Chiefs minus 5.5, totals 41.5. What's the angle here?
It feels like a lot of points for the Chiefs to be laying, but I think what's being kind of downplayed there is the Herbert injury. Like, it was very clear. He was very hesitant about landing. Like, he was just falling and just trying to make sure he doesn't hurt his hand. And we saw what happened with the Colts playing through injury. Like, it's not a recipe for success. So I think the line is right here with the 4.5, even though it feels like, Kansas City's struggling, and I don't know how many times I can say their backs against the wall before they, I'm not going to say it again. So I think I'm taking Chiefs here, taking Chiefs minus 4.5, just because of the problems that Herbert's going to have and how much an impact that's going to make on this team.
Yeah,
you might have to take 5.5 because this opened 4.5. It's now 5.5. I made this 6, so it's interesting. It's getting that way. I gave Joey a great stat this morning in my office. There are 42 scenarios where the Chiefs get eliminated this weekend in the playoff race.
It's insane.
I'm not going to list them. It'll just take me all hour. But yeah, there's 42 opportunities where Mahomes fails to make the playoffs for the first time in his career. The Herbert injury does look bad. They didn't impress me on Monday against another team that's faltering. I think you got to take the desperate team that are on the ropes. History, home field. I wouldn't bet this with Joey's money. I'd probably stay away from this game.
And Chargers do have the previous win, correct?
Yes, in Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that one.
right.
Yeah. All right. Exciting stuff. Moving on, we have Packers, Broncos. Green Bay has won 4 in a row, and it seems to be like they're hitting its stride on both sides of the ball. Going against, though, a hot Broncos team who a lot of people are calling frauds. We have a close line here, though. Packers minus 2.5, totals 42.5. So, Joey, explain the angle here.
So 2 solid defenses, and that's why you're going to see it kind of a low close, right? It's 43, so that makes the 3 even more valuable, especially in a low total game here. But I do like the Packers here. I do think Denver are frauds. I do think they have had luck like the Commanders had last year. And while they have a very good defense, I do not have any sort of faith in that offense. So I'm leaning Packers here. I think they're able to get it done. And I think it still stays under. I think it's like a 16-13 game. It's going to be a good game. It'll be fun to watch. I love watching defensive battles. That's why I love the Indiana-Ohio State game. Like that, when you get 2 really good defenses, it makes those offensive possessions so much more important, especially when you get in the red zone instead of getting touchdowns as opposed to getting just field goals. So, going to be a great game. But I think Packers get it done here.
I think I've finally converted Joey to defensive battles. This would be 6 on a neutral field to the Packers. So the only reason this number's so low, or theoretically low, is because it's in Denver.
Yeah. That elevation.
Yeah. Broncos are 8-1 at home versus the Packers all time, and the only loss was in overtime.
Interesting.
Of those 9 games, only 1 has gone over this total. So it does lend to a defensive battle all the time. My 4th and 5th best 2 defenses on my ratings I agree with Joey. I see this is a low-scoring game. Interestingly as well, Denver and Green Bay control both their destinies. Denver controls the 1 seed and Green Bay controls the 2 seed. But a loss, it becomes a little bit different because it puts your boys in for the 1 seed in the driver's seat. I would just go with a better team, which is Green Bay for me. And if it's 2.5, I'd take the 2.5. If it's 3, I'm just watching the game.
Yeah, I think that's the right play.
Gotcha. Let's get into our weekly NFL game picks. Favorite NFL game to go over?
I think the Bengals-Ravens goes over the 51.5 there. Bengals.
The winner is Panthers-Saints over 40.5.
All right. Favorite NFL game to go under?
I like under in the Cardinals-Texans game. Again, Texans defense, great. Offense looks like trash, so I'll take the under in that one.
I'm going to go Colts-Seahawks under 42.5, only because I can't see the Colts scoring.
Right.
And it's going to be wet the entire game.
Yeah. Favorite team to cover the spread?
Give me the grandpa. Covering the 13.5 is a 10-point move week over week. It's crazy.
The Buffalo Bills.
All right. Upset of the week.
I think the Saints get it done against the Panthers. The Saints have actually quietly been playing better week in and week out. And, yeah, Panthers know their favorites. So, stick a fork in them.
What's that, like 2 points?
Yeah, 2.5 points.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I'm going to take an 8.5-point dog on the road in bad weather with 2 strong running games. Can't believe this. The Cleveland Browns plus 305 against the Bears.
Ooh.
That's wait till you get to the weather.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, Craig, let us know about that weather. What's your weather watch?
Funny enough, let's do it in the reverse order. It's going to be windy in Philadelphia. Not quite enough for me to want to bet the under heavily. But you've seen Philadelphia's offense, and we've seen how windy it can get in Philadelphia. It's going to be wet the entire game in Seattle. It's going to be very cold on Monday night in Pittsburgh, and we know Tua can only win 1 game in the cold against the Jets. Chicago is going to have a wind chill effect of minus 30.
Oof.
Yeah, no thanks. So if I'm a better of that game, the number's low. I think it's like 38.5. I'd probably look at the running backs player props overs, as we saw with the Bears on Black Friday. Cold, windy, run the ball. Stick to the strengths.
All right. Let's get into our anytime touchdown parlay. Each of us are going to choose a leg, and then you can tail this at home if you like it on the Caesar Sportsbook app. You both cashed yours last week. Big prices. I held you down. I'm sorry. Let's get it going this week. Who would like to start?
I'll start. I'm going with wide receiver 3 for the Cincinnati Bengals, Andre Acevius, plus 210, because I do think that one's going to be a shootout, and he's been playing and getting a lot more targets lately because they're too worried about the other 2 wide receivers they have to cover.
Yeah, good point. Excellent. I'm sticking with the running game, and I'm sticking with Cleveland and Chicago, but I'm going to go Caleb Williams plus 340.
You could be running out there.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to go Nico Collins plus 110.
Doesn't he play for the Texans?
He does.
And didn't you just trash their offense?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Doesn't mean,
Okay.
you know?
You're
It's
entitled to your
all
pick.
strategic.
Yeah.
Strategic. If you like this at home, although Craig's not doing a great job here, please do tail this on the Caesar Sportsbook app. All right. Do you guys want to get into our game picks? 1 college, 1
pro.
NFL.
Yeah.
Who would like to start?
You still have a 3-point lead over Joey, and I'm still right behind Joey.
Would you like
so-
me to start? I'm happy to.
Yeah, go for it. I know what it is. It's going to be the Patriots straight away, isn't it?
It is not.
Okay.
Whoa.
It is not. I'm going Boise State plus 9.5. And for my NFL, I'm going Cardinals plus 9.5. I really like that 9.5 number today.
9.5 is your favorite number today.
Yeah.
All right, since I'm in second, I'll go second. I'm going to take Navy to cover minus 6.5. And then I am going to go with the New England Patriots plus 1.
Interesting.
I know what you're doing. Okay. Army Navy under 38.5.
Yeah, why not?
Gimme.
Yeah, it's got to be the easiest one on the board. I took an over last week. I don't like taking overs, but it cashed. So I'm going to go Saints Panthers over 40.5 for the very same reason as the Ravens Steelers last week. And
All
this
right.
is indoors in Bella.
It is indoors, yeah.
All right, well, that's a wrap for this week's episode. If you don't already, please subscribe to Talking with Our Traders wherever you listen to your podcast. Follow at Caesar Sports on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. Guys, any final words heading into this weekend?
Go Bills.
Yeah,
Go
Bills.
Pats.
Go Bills.
Bye.